Morning, folks. It's Wednesday, and we're on Matthew chapter 5, the beginning of, I wouldn't even say probably, certainly the most famous sermon ever given. And it's given by Jesus. The crowds have gathered. He sits down. He goes up on a mountain, sits down with his disciples. And he begins to teach them. And obviously, as we get to the end, we see the crowd has gathered around as well. But it seems this is a message mainly intended for the disciples. But we know many others heard it as well. And I would encourage you that if you have the time today to read the entire sermon, chapters 5, 6, and 7. It doesn't take, 10, 15 minutes if you give it a little bit of reflection and just to get an, an overall sense of the entire message. And then go back and look at a little more detail in chapter 5, and we'll hit 6 on Thursday and chapter 7 on Friday. But chapter 5, begins with the Beatitudes. And Jesus, as you look at these, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are the meek, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, blessed are the pure in heart, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the persecuted. Jesus is making it clear that he has come to turn everything totally upside down. That how the world looks at things, he looks at things totally opposite. And that this kingdom that he is coming to establish is totally different than what the world looks at and what the world understands. And as we see through the rest of this chapter, everything is really kind of totally flipped. So it's Jesus, this is radical teaching, challenges the people that you are to be the salt of this earth and the light of the world. And, that obviously we've talked about, the church has talked about through the years, how can you be salt and light, and the command to be salt and light. And then we have 6 teachings on you have heard this, but this. And in every case, it's the expectation is higher. That Jesus has come to totally transform. You've heard, you shall not murder, but I say, anyone angry with his brother is liable to judgment. You've heard it said, do not commit adultery, but I say anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery. And just goes on, you've heard this, but I say this. And it's even more, the expectations are even higher. You've heard it said, you shall love your enemy and hate your neighbor. But I say, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So the standard is incredibly high. And when he says that he has not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law, he's saying the expectations are very steep. And in fact, in the last verse of chapter 5, you therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. And Jesus is setting the bar really high. And obviously, we can't attain that bar. And that's where he comes in. That's where faith in Jesus comes in. That we can only do this, only strive for this with a relationship with Jesus. So we'll get into chapter 6 tomorrow that talks about some practical things as well. But it is well worth your time to read through the entire sermon. In fact, I plan to do it each of these 3 days. And so we'll hit chapter 6 tomorrow. But I hope you have a great day, and God bless you, and we'll see you on here tomorrow.